And a lot of those ideas that you have are not guaranteed. There's no guarantees around, anything that we go, oh, that's a good idea. What if I implemented that? Well, there's no guarantee of success there, but you will never know whether or not you're good enough, or you'll never know whether or not that idea is going to get traction until such time as you implement. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. My name's Max. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to you if you are in podcast land. Welcome to you if you're in YouTube land. Great to have you along for the ride. Look, today as usual, I'm going to deliver some steak and potatoes, get some value going that you can grab hold of and implement straight away. A bit of housekeeping first, like and subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Leave us a comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you ASAP. And be sure to jump across to the Business for Builders VIP private Facebook group. If you're a good sort, I'll let you in. And don't forget, if you want to chat with me about my business coaching services, would love to spend some time with you. Go across to elitebusinessadvisory.com, hit the book a consultation button, and would love to spend 30 minutes with you on a Zoom call, just chatting about where you're up to with your business, what your challenges are, and really maybe some of your business goals and maybe what's hindering your progress in that regard. I think that's about the long and the short. That must be my quickest intro so far. But good to have you along for the ride. If you're a first-time listener, I appreciate you dropping in. If you're a first-time viewer, that's great too. Appreciate your attention, and hopefully you'll get something out of this show and others if you hang around. For all of the long-term listeners, we appreciate the OGs in the room and the folks that have been with us for a while. We really do. I really do appreciate some of the love that I get on email. It's awesome. Okay, let's get cracking. Today, want to quickly run through what I would call maybe 4 business development concepts that can maybe looked upon as a little bit polarizing. And so they are terms which could be confused or blended together as the same thing. But I'm going to sort of throw down with my opinion, and I've always been a bit of an opinionated sort. But I think this is going to be a little bit of an eye-opener. And what we want to try and do is we always want to try and move you from a stationary position to a person or a business that has some motion. Motion creates emotion, and so there's nothing worse than feeling like, oh, Max, I feel stuck, or I feel confused or anything like that. So a lot of what we do is we, especially in the coaching world with elite business, we really want to develop and design some vision around what it is that you want to achieve in business. And we want to bring clarity and also really help you with some level of leadership through the confusing world of business development. So I'm going to run through 4 business development concepts and really shed some light and just really maybe separate the 2 terms, which could be maybe blended together and be confused that they are one and the same, which they are not. So first one, knowledge versus wisdom. Now, not being a very educated sort, I didn't glean a lot of knowledge from textbooks. I just didn't do terribly well at school. My teacher's report cards often would say if he would just apply himself. That was very much the common theme over several years. And so I didn't technically gain a lot of knowledge, through textbooks. And so, I've had to do it other ways. And because I'm a carpenter by trade, a lot of my knowledge and understanding, let's say, was gleaned from experiences on site. I just want to then flip to the other side about wisdom. See, knowledge comes from you being a very passive position and having things brought to your attention. That's really where the knowledge, is gained. We don't understand the impact of that knowledge until we go out and we start to operate in that sector. And I think sometimes when we take that book knowledge and we go and implement, it has some occasion whereby you will do something and maybe you don't quite get it right, even though you put it together in accordance with what you think the knowledge is. But really where you gain wisdom, which is the other side, is coming from a lot of experience. And so this is why if you continue just to, and of course we'll get onto this as we cover off on these 4 points, I think sometimes we've got to, be careful that we don't just get over supplied with knowledge and systems, and we really can get we get paralysis by analysis. We're going, well, if I just had one more checklist, if I go to the Business for Builders Facebook page, the VIP Facebook page, and Max lets me in and I get another checklist, or I get another PDF, I'll have more knowledge. And yes, you will, because I think it's important, but you got to understand that wisdom really comes from cocking it up, especially in what we do. And I'm just talking to builders, general contractors. It's what I know from experience. And I've seen it. I've seen builders that are in my charge as part of my group, and I would share with them how we go about doing the sales process and how we do the preliminary work in the design and quote stage, and outline the certain things that we need to do, the communication processes that we need to have with our clients. And in some cases they don't get observed, so they get the knowledge, but because they didn't execute well, they made a mistake. But now they have the wisdom, and I've heard it more than once: Max, I will never do that again. That's actually wisdom. That's where knowledge transitions to a position of wisdom off the back of your experience. And so I think it's great where you can read a book, listen to an audio book, listen to a podcast, watch me on YouTube, and you really start to get that knowledge. But it's not really, you really don't become that, an operator full of wisdom unless you have gone out there and really seen that activated in real life. So just keep in mind that just because you get the book knowledge and doesn't necessarily mean you've got the street smarts. So you got book smarts, but not street smarts. And so just, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting book smarts. I love it. I like to educate. I always say the more you learn, the more you earn. We just got to make sure that we understand that what goes hand in hand with that knowledge is the fact that in the outworking on our day-to-day operations as business owners, that it's inevitable that we are going to make some mistakes and we are going to mess some things up. And it's important that we actually we learn from that experience, and we combine the book smarts with the street smarts. That's when you become a killer operator. So just keep that one in mind. Number 2, education versus implementation. Again, this is where you can get that paralysis by analysis. You can just sit there and just go, I'm just overloading. I've just had something to eat, and I swear I've just eaten too much. But it's just where I've taken on too much education. And there's got to be a time when then there's got to be a balance. And I think that's what I'm talking about. So if we backed up to knowledge and wisdom, we got to understand there's a balance. If you just go and get too much book smarts and you don't really go and implement that, or you don't go and actually put that into practice, you're short serving yourself. Because the wisdom is actually really those two parts go together. And so with education, we don't want to just overindulge in education because, Gary Vaynerchuk always says that ideas are shit, execution's the game. And so we've got to make sure that we take those ideas that we've maybe learnt through that, knowledge acquisition, if you like, and we move into that education role. But we want to make sure that at some point we are courageous enough to go and implement some of those ideas. And a lot of those ideas that you have are not guaranteed. There's no guarantees around, anything that we go, oh, that's a good idea. What if I implemented that? Well, there's no guarantee of success there, but you will never know whether or not you're good enough, or you'll never know whether or not that idea is going to get traction until such time as you implement. And so it's super important that we balance, again, education with implementation. I think we don't want to just keep implementing either to a point where we're just doing the same old. Meanwhile, the industry or technology is starting to advance and we're not observing that. And I think, for us builders, that is a position where we honestly just get so comfortable in doing what we do. We're used to implementing this way. This is how Dad implemented, or this is how the company's always been run. And we've just lost sight of the fact that changing technologies and changing processes in our industry is actually a thing. So super important that we, make sure that we focus on education, but we also implement those ideas as well. Which brings me to point number 3. And this is one I've been talking to my business clients and my franchised operators lately. Again, we're talking about getting balance. We want balance between initiate and optimize. And so sometimes we can get stuck in, trying to come up with the right idea, whatever that is, instead of just making a start. Now, for those of you that don't know, I launched an international coaching business about 115 days ago, but who's counting? This is me measuring, folks, in real time. And, what was exciting is that, what we were able to do in the beginning was just to make a start without getting bogged in, trying to sort of get it right, set up the infrastructure. Obviously, I had to do a bunch of stuff to get that established. There was no if, buts, or maybes around that. But I really got cracking pretty quickly. I really wanted to initiate and get cracking straight away. And what I found was that I actually, this is probably my favorite, initiate and optimize. And it's this consistent, it's very similar to me when I would say walk a mile and you see a mile, walk a mile, see a mile. Instead, some of us want to see the end destination, and I'm all about envisaging what's going to happen and then reverse engineering, totally down with that. But I think in real business combat, a lot of what we do is off the back of trying something, saying 70% of it's really good, but 30% needs a bit of a tweak. That tweak is optimization. And so you can't optimize unless you initiate. And sometimes we feel unsure. Like I didn't really feel 100% sure in what I was doing when I launched a coaching business. However, what I knew at the core of me that I was reaching folks who were putting their hands up saying, hey, Max, would you be interested in, coaching me in my business? And so I knew that the groundwork was done, that there was a need in the marketplace for it. And I was just going to make a start with maybe 50% of my ducks lined up. But then as I went along, that I would improve and I would make it better for my coaching clients. So, there's things in your world like, I'm coaching some guys right now that really are in early stages of their business development journey. And I totally subscribe to having a job management software and that they use that interfaces across the board. However, because of some financial constraints, they're like, Max, can I just use Excel? And I'm like, absolutely. You know why? Because we want to initiate something of a level of an organization that we can then optimize later. And so, I would encourage you not to just get stuck and go, well, we can't go and do that because I want you to consider really stepping outside your comfort zone. Success lies outside your comfort zone. I know that, when I talk to I might have even mentioned on the show before, but, I went from doing $80,000 to $100,000 jobs to this $1.1 million townhouse development. I had never done a project that big, and it was a massive jump. It was really 10x, what I was used to doing. However, I had spent years and years and years working on townhouse sites, and I was very familiar with the build process. And like I've mentioned, maybe in a TikTok or a Q&A there at one stage, I've got a black belt understanding of all of the trades and how they all interface and who relies on who and in what sequence and how the ball bounces and, where we can maximize efficiency, all of that kind of thing. That just came from doing it long enough where I could then, once I started executing for myself, I was able to optimize. So don't be afraid to make a start. Walk a mile, see a mile, but always be open to going, I understand the concept of initiate and optimize. That is like this circle of success, if you like, where you can start doing something and start building in such a way or quoting in such a way or doing sales in such a way. But please never get to a point where you go, I've got this nailed. Understand that if you spend half an hour with me, there's probably a couple of ways I can help you improve your bottom line, help you improve your sales process, help improve the way you estimate, help you the way you recruit, help you in some of the ways where you fulfill your obligations as far as a builder and deliver the product. And so, there's all those kinds of things that we can really work hard on. Number 4, fourth and final, investment versus measurement. And so, really what you've got to think about is that it's not a case of just shutting your eyes and throwing mud against the wall and spending money on software, spending money on Facebook ads, spending money on Google ads, spending money on recruitment. I think we've got to be very careful because we have a finite resource. A lot of us, when we say first start out, or even if we've been in business for a while, we maybe haven't been making the profit or really creating the operational capital that we need. So we have a very small, finite amount of capital. And we need to make sure that when we do invest, that we have the plan to measure the success. And on the next episode, I am going to talk about key metrics. And so, don't miss that one. But, I think it's important that what we've got to do is we've got to confirm wherever we invest now, whether it's time or whether it's money, what we're looking at is a return on that investment. So if you're going to go out there and spend money on advertising, if you're going to go and spend money on recruitment, if you're going to go and spend money on equipment, if you're going to go and spend money on software, you've always got to be looking in advance. Like, when I invest this, what is the return? And how long do I expect before I see that return? So this is all about measurement, guys and girls. And so, I think we've got to be vigilant and very focused around what we need to do as business owners. And that is absolutely going to take investment of time and money. And we just got to make sure that we are understanding because sometimes we're going to invest where it ends up being a shit show and it doesn't work out. And so the only way we know that is, okay, if it didn't work out, why did it not work out? Well, the only way you're going to know why it didn't work out is if you are measuring, the activity that goes on in those sectors within your business. So just to recap, knowledge versus wisdom, not the same thing. Be careful that you don't mix those two up. Education versus implementation. Be prepared to initiate and then optimize on the fly. And of course, investment. Be careful that you don't invest frivolously or foolishly, and that you measure every aspect of any kind of or any level of investment that you have in your business. All right, folks, that was a short and sharp episode. Hope you enjoyed that. If you got any questions, you can email me, max@elitebusinessadvisory.com, or you can shoot across to elitebusinessadvisory.com if you want to catch up with me on a Zoom call, hit the book a consultation. And for folks that are out there, if you'd like to do that, you can also hit the scorecard. There's a scorecard there which will really break down the 21 silver bullets that I use to help business owners improve the business across the board. We're not just saying, hey, we want to create more profit in your business, which we do. We want to optimize the profit, absolutely. But there's a whole bunch of areas within your business that are very interdependent. And it's important that you make sure they're firing on all cylinders, like all of those aspects within your business, whether it's recruitment, whether it's having a targeted marketing campaign, we're understanding your preferred client profile, understanding, your KPIs, having a strategic plan down, all these sorts of things. It's super important. So that's going to be held in the scorecard. And if you're going to book a consultation with me, just drop straight down the next scroll down and the scorecard button will be there. Hit that, fill that out, and that'll give me some really good insight. Something we can actually jam around in that 30-minute meeting. But if you want to hit me up on email, got any questions, max@elitebusinessadvisory.com, and all that stuff will be in the show notes anyway. And be sure to leave any comments if you're on YouTube, and I would love to get back to you in that regard. Have a great day. Go build that kick-ass business. See you in the next episode. Cheers.